at the time of me recording this video, Death Stranding 2 will be out in just a few hours for the people who pre-ordered the Digital Deluxe Edition, which I, of course, did because I consider myself to be the biggest Death Stranding fan in the world. This game means so much to me, and the second one means a lot to me too, even though I haven't played it yet, but I've had a lot of fun waiting for it, and I just thought I'd do a casual little last minute video talking about my final thoughts before the game comes out, and I just kind of want to reflect on the wait for Death Stranding 2. So, I always get this really weird feeling whenever a Hideo Kojima game comes out, which I don't get for other things. I get so excited and happy, but I also get a little bit sad because the wait is over. And for me, the anticipation and the build-up towards a Hideo Kojima game is a big part of the fun for me. Watching the trailers, coming up with theories, looking for little details in the trailers, that kind of thing, is just so fun, and it's always a little sad that has to end, but of course, I'm extremely happy that I finally get to play the game. And, I think it's important for me to give you some context about, my relationship with Hideo Kojima games and the anticipation for them. So, I first played the Metal Gear Solid franchise in 2013. And once I was done with them, I realized that they were now my new favorite thing in the whole world. I love it more than every other video game series, every movie franchise, every TV show, every book I've ever read. I absolutely adore Metal Gear. It's like my Star Wars. And Hideo Kojima also became, he became my personal hero. And, again, sorry, this is a very casual video. I didn't script this, but, yeah, and 2013 was also basically the year that the hype train for Metal Gear Solid 5 really began. Because before that year, we did get the announcement of Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, although I wasn't a fan at the time when that happened, so I wasn't really there for that. Although I did remember seeing the very cryptic and creepy trailer for The Phantom Pain during the, I think it was the last Spike Game Awards. And, again, at that time, I wasn't a Metal Gear fan, so I didn't even, notice the little hints that it was a Metal Gear game. And so in 2013, we finally did get the confirmation that The Phantom Pain was actually Metal Gear Solid 5. And we also got the confirmation that Ground Zeroes was like a playable prologue for that game. And we ended up getting that game in 2014, the next year, which was fantastic. But yeah, I just have so many fun memories of the build-up and the wait, that 2-year wait for MGS5. That was probably the most excited I will ever get for a piece of entertainment, or at least for a video game. Although I think Death Stranding 2 definitely comes very close to that. I could not be more excited for this game. I'm so happy that I get to play it in a few hours, and yeah, now let's kind of talk about the Death Stranding game. So, Death Stranding 1 was also very high up there in my most anticipated games of all time, back when it was announced in 2016, and then we had to wait 3 more years until 2019 to finally get it. That was such a fun hype cycle because, Death Stranding was this totally new thing, and so we kind of had to we really had to flex our brain muscles, I guess, to really kind of try and come up with predictions. Because with like the Metal Gear games in the past, obviously we had a pre-established canon that we could draw inspiration from for our theories. And so for Death Stranding, we kind of had like this new challenge of trying to figure out what the hell this game was. And when it released in 2019, even though it was a very divisive game, I absolutely loved it. I still, to this day, I've beaten the game 6 times. I think it's a masterpiece. It might be my second favorite game of all time behind Metal Gear Solid 3. Although, really, on this last playthrough, I was almost kind of thinking to myself, this might actually be my favorite game of all time. I might actually like this better than the Metal Gear games, which is crazy. And you know, I definitely think I'm gonna love Death Stranding 2. It looks amazing, and the wait for this game was kind of different because we didn't really get as many trailers as we did with Death Stranding 1, or at least it didn't feel that way. But I remember back at the Game Awards, I think it was either 2021 or maybe it was 2022. And I remember watching that Game Awards. Before that Game Awards, we already heard Norman Reedus was talking about how they were making a second one, so I guess he kind of spoiled it. But I still couldn't believe my eyes when that trailer dropped. I was just speechless because there was this part of me after Death Stranding 1 came out. I really did not think that we were ever going to get a sequel to this. I didn't think it was going to sell that well because it was such a divisive game at the time. And I thought that this would just kind of be it. I thought Kojima would move on to something new. And kind of, you know, just leave Death Stranding as a one-off, which would have been perfectly fine. I think the game works great as a standalone, but at the same time, I also love the world of Death Stranding so much. It's like one of my favorite fictional worlds ever, and I did want to see more of it, and we're seeing a lot more of it, actually. You know, we're getting the second game, and then we're also getting a live-action movie. And then we're also getting an anime series, which Kojima recently announced. So that's all very exciting. But like I said, seeing that first trailer for the first time was just so... It made me so happy. It made me so relieved that it was actually happening. And I don't know if there's going to be a third game. I hope there's a third game. But, you know, if this game has a very satisfying ending, I think that I'll be okay with it being the end, and we still have the next 2 Kojima production games to look forward to, which are Overdose and Sigint. Very excited for both of those, and I feel like the hype train for Overdose is really going to kick in after Death Stranding 2 is out. I think they're going to start doing more of a marketing push for that. And, yeah, you know, it's been very crazy. For Death Stranding 2, I kind of took a different approach to this hype cycle, because in previous hype cycles, I would be constantly watching all the trailers for the new Hideo Kojima game, for MGS5 and Death Stranding 1 especially, and with this one, I really haven't watched... I don't think I've watched any theory videos about it. I've come up with some of my own. I even... yesterday, I posted a video of one of my own theories for this game. And, but yeah, other than that, I've mostly been, like, kind of ignoring the game, except when trailers come out. Although, recently, I have also been ignoring all of the marketing for it because I really don't want to get spoiled. And I already kind of feel like with the last trailer I saw, which was like the State of Play one, I kind of skipped through that trailer and only saw bits and pieces of it, but those bits and pieces were kind of spoilery to me. So yeah, I really don't know as much about this game as with previous ones. And I think from now on, that is probably how I'm going to approach it, because as I get older, I really love the feeling of getting surprised by a piece of art, you know. I try to avoid trailers when it's for something that I know I want to experience and I don't want any spoilers for it. So so yeah, I ultimately know very little about Death Stranding 2. I haven't seen any of the reviews, although I've seen the review scores and they seem great. It has a 90% critic score on Metacritic, which is awesome to see. And I know there was a preview event. I heard a little bit about that. I heard that people got to play like 30 hours of the game, which is insane that they are so confident in this game that they let people play for that long. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I am so excited. I think it's only like 5 or 6 more hours until the game unlocks and I will be able to play it. I think it's going to be a wonderful experience, and it will probably be my game of the year, maybe even my game of the generation, because that's what Death Stranding 1 was. And I'd say so far, my game of the generation is God of War Ragnarok easily, and I feel like Death Stranding 2 is the only game that could really top that, I think. God of War 4, or God of War 2018, that was actually my second favorite game of the last generation. So maybe this generation will turn out the same with the sequels to those two being my top two. But anyway, I think that's all for me. Stupid Soul Skull Studios. And yeah, tomorrow is in your hands. Stay connected and play Death Stranding because it's awesome.